We're at the Orchard of the Future block on our Mill Creek orchard, and I want to talk today about the scion uprights that we're trying to grow. We're trying to grow these uprights as single whips that we plan to bend down at the end of summer this year onto our trellis, which has yet to be installed, so that we can prepare to grow uprights in spring of 2018. So next spring, we want to grow uprights off these shoots. What we've learned is that we do not want to have seleptics on these uprights that we're growing, because we have difficulty across all varieties on all rootstocks getting those seleptics to become productive at the base of the seleptic. So we don't want to waste that space. And so the strategy that we're utilizing here is growing the uprights on the rootstock trees, but leaving the rootstocks intact. And let's look at what we have going on here. This is the typical tree here at the block. And you can see that we've left this, the upright here, or the rootstock intact, and that the pearl scion, in this case it's ebony pearl, is growing from the healed in bud, and we're growing this upright. And this upright is probably upwards of 18 inches in length, and it has nice internode space. And it's growing along, and its vigor, we believe, is being controlled by the amount of canopy of the Crimp 6 rootstock tree that remains above, which, as you can see, is quite substantial. And so what we're going to do is we're going to continue to monitor this upright growth, and we want to achieve 8 feet of upright growth by the middle of August of this year. And we are at the 10th or 11th of May today. So we've got a number of months to allow this root stock tree to be producing its upright. And we're just going to monitor, and how we're going to control the upright development is going to be by how much of that canopy we allow the tree to have. So let's look at this bud here. Now this is an example of where we had failure to launch. Isn't that a movie, Failure to Launch? Something like that. Anyway, you can see that this ebony pearl scion bud, it hasn't done anything. It's just sat here. It's well healed in. You can see that it's well healed in, but it's just sitting here. And I'm not sure if the tree lacked the vigor to grow that shoot, or if the canopy, which was left above, was controlling that shoot and preventing it from developing. And so what we did is we came in here just a couple of days ago, and this tree canopy here was very similar to that tree canopy there. And what we did is we drastically reduced the canopy back. We didn't cut the whole thing out, but we cut a majority of it out. And you can actually see laying here, these branches on the ground, how much we cut out of this tree. So we cut a bunch of the canopy out, but we left enough that we still have some production of auxin by the rootstock tree above this shoot. We didn't want to cut it all the way back because we didn't want this shoot to take off, and if we cut it all the way back, we would not have any auxin being produced at all. And so in other words, it'd be just like taking the gas pedal out of a car, or the brake pedal out of a car. What we want here is we want to have some canopy left above, and if that shoot doesn't take off, then we will prune it back further. All right. Then we have a third phenomena occurring here that's a real challenge, and it's on this next tree here. And that is, we have some of our scion buds that just look awful. Let's see if we can get the camera to focus here. And so this bud here turned out to be very tiny. It's well healed in, but it turned out to be very tiny, and it really hasn't done anything. Let me see if I can get a different angle. I'm sorry about the cinematography here. So this bud here hasn't done a darn thing, and it doesn't look normal. It has weak leaves and only a couple of them, and I am really concerned about this bud even performing for us at all. And so what we've done here is we reserved budwood this winter, kept it in dormant. And we've actually gone, I'm gonna flip around here. We've actually gone and grafted a new bud onto this tree. And the goal is to actually grow this bud that we've grafted on here and not worry about this bud growing. Now, I don't know why the bud that was grafted on last summer didn't grow. But what I do know is that I don't want to wait for it to take off because it may or may not work. And so I've hedged my bet here by adding another bud. And when this bud is healed in, this was grafted on about 10 days ago, so it hasn't been on here for very long, but you can see it starting to respond. And so we intend to watch that bud, and like the tree that we looked at over here that had the shoot that didn't want to extend, we plan on pruning this canopy back and allowing that shoot to grow using the canopy as our brake pedal. Because again, even on these buds right here, we don't want them to grow any Calyptics. So that's just a quick update on what we're doing here. Our goal is to create very uniform trees. So by this summer, when I come back to this area in August, when we're ready to tie our uprights down and form the cordon for our UFO training system here, I want the shoots on the uprights on each of these trees to be the same. And so we're going to do that by managing the rootstock canopy, and we'll actually come in and do individual nutrient drenches by giving trees that are weaker a little bit of a boost with nutrition to try to grow all these trees have an upright shoot that's 8 feet in length with good internode spacing come August, so that we can go into spring of 2018 with a very uniform cordon formation and focus on growing our uprights evenly. So we have a lot of variation amongst these 3 trees now. It'll take intensive management now, but if we can get a cordon growth on each of these trees that is equal, it's going to set us up for really good success in the future. So we're putting all of our work up front and paying a lot of detail up front so that we can have less work in the future. All right, there's your update.